In the Darkness, a story of survival. The rain poured down like tears from an angry god, while thunder rumbled like a drum that shook the city's metallic heart. On this dark night, a group of 5 friends had organized a party on the terrace of the city's tallest skyscraper. Emily, David, Chris, Sarah, and James clinked their glasses together against the sea of city lights, trying to ignore the eerie atmosphere created by the storm. Suddenly, a scream pierced the darkness of the night. Emily had vanished in an instant. Her friends looked around in shock and horror, while thunder roared as if in approval. A minute later, David disappeared in the same way. With panic and fear rising by the moment, Chris and Sarah began to search for Emily and David. But their search was fruitless. One by one, their friends seemed to be drawn into the darkness. Finally, James and Sarah were left alone on the terrace of the skyscraper. The rain and wind intensified, and the thunder deafened them. James grabbed Sarah's arm and decided to descend from the top of the skyscraper. Descending the dark and eerie stairs, they feared that a monster or ghost would attack them at any moment. At one point, James slipped and fell on Sarah. At that moment, the lights of the skyscraper went out, and everything was plunged into darkness. James and Sarah, holding hands in the darkness, continued to descend the stairs in panic. Finally, they reached the exit door of the skyscraper. When they opened the door, a dark and rainy forest lay before them. Hugging each other, they tried to resist the force of the rain and wind and entered the forest. With every step, they feared that a monster would leap out of the darkness. After walking for hours, they finally came across a cabin. They knocked on the door of the cabin, and an old woman opened it. James and Sarah told the old woman what had happened to them. The old woman took them in and let them sit by a warm fireplace. James and Sarah, sitting by the fireplace, began to think about the horrific events they had experienced. Their friends had disappeared one by one. They had miraculously survived. After this experience, James and Sarah's lives were changed forever. Nothing would ever be the same again. When the sun rose, James and Sarah thanked the old woman and left the cabin. They walked through the forest and headed for the city. When they arrived in the city, everything seemed normal. But James and Sarah knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The horrific event they experienced on the terrace of the tall skyscraper had changed them forever. The mystery of their friend's disappearance was never solved. James and Sarah would never forget this horrific experience for the rest of their lives.